Please find a comfortable posture for your practice. And the sitting practice is to uncover, reveal, understand something you already know. Masters say that it is self-shining, it is self-evident, it is readily apparent. But we cover up our knowing with false knowing. So even though you can know, at least if you have a window nearby, that the sky is blue, if you falsely know that the sky is green, doesn't matter. You could look at any moment and see a blue sky because you know it's a green sky. And so the green sky, knowledge, covers, obscures, hides the obvious, self-evident knowledge that the sky is blue. In the same way, you're knowing that you are a person with thoughts and problems, with a birth and a death, just like you know that, and you live in a world and you've got to solve problems and navigate those situations. Just like you know that, some imaginary person I just made up knows that the sky is green. Knowing that I'm a separate person in a big world, I've got to make these choices, obscures, covers, hides what you also know through direct knowing. Just like you can directly see the blue sky, even if the sky you believed was green, you would know you are one. You are undisturbed by the goings-on. But the goings-ons is just an appearance. It's really not a goings-on. It is the fullness. It is the wholeness of existence. And you know it. Not because I say it, because they're words, but because just like you could look and see a blue sky, you can know that. This is all one thing. If you take that person and you open their eyes and you make them look at the sky and you say, look, that's not green, that's blue. What are they going to say? Are they going to believe you right off the bat? No. They're going to say, that's green. I swear it's green. Because they've been calling blue green. Just like we've been calling this separate life with an ego in a world with problems and choices. When really, it's one thing. We've been calling it green, really it's blue. How do you make that transition from green to blue? How do you make the transition from a separate little person with a bunch of other people around who I have to navigate through into one thing? This is what practice is about. It's the distance you must travel from green to blue. It's fantastic to think about it, right? Because it's an insurmountable distance. How far do you have to travel to take a green sky and make it a blue sky? It's an impossible distance to cross. all that can happen is you can stop calling the actual sky green and you can call it blue. And then you go, oh, that makes more sense. It's not the same color as the leaves on the tree. You should have known that. This is a tough metaphor if anyone listens to this with color blindness. Or maybe it's actually more accessible. I don't know. How do you cross that distance between false knowing and real knowing? This is the practice. It lasts as long as it takes. And so when you sit here, lay here, whatever it is, you reflect on the contemplation. And every time you hear your false knowings, every time you hear the sky is green, every time you hear yourself, I'm a separate person in a big world with problems. You have to be willing to discern, willing to unlearn, willing to doubt that conviction, because that conviction has not been serving you. You've been convicted to a life of imprisonment, to a life of false knowing, as long as you perpetuate it. You have to sort of decide for yourself, yes, in fact, it's not helpful. It's not helpful knowing that. It's not helpful knowing that the sky is green. This is what you're endeavoring to understand. It's not helpful. There's no use in thinking I'm a limited being in a big world with a bunch of scary endeavors ahead of me. It's just not true. That the right knowing, knowing that the sky is blue, knowing that this is all one thing, is going to be more effective, more helpful, more useful to whatever goal you may have. What is that goal? Goal is freedom. All beings crave it. You can't be free if you lie to yourself. You're imprisoned by the lies. What we're calling false knowledge. The sky is green. Now you may think, whoa, I don't know about this. Maybe Richard's lying. Maybe it's not all one thing. In which case, that's for your mind to make up. For you to discern. How do you discern? Because it's not a coin toss whether the sky is blue or the sky is green. It is evident that the sky is blue. And so we must understand that it is evident that this is all one thing. So let's start the unraveling a little bit of the false knowings. Every time you have a thought, an I am blah 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 thought, or even a thought that implies an I am the body, you're going to say, not this, not this. This practice is called neti neti. Neti means not this. You can just use the English, that's fine. Not this. What you're doing is you're trying to loosen up the hold of the sky is green goings on in your mind. Every time you hear yourself telling a story about being a person in the world, the things you've done, things you will do, things you're going to do next time. Not this. Now, some of you will be very busy saying not this, and that's okay. Every time you notice a thought, not this, not that thought. I am not the I that thought is trying to convince me I am. I am not the I that thought is trying to convince me I am. Not this. Every time you find yourself hearing a thought, not this. At first, you might just say it sort of routinely, not this, not this. Every once in a while, as you find yourself lost in one of those stories, give some teeth to not this. Digest it, mash it up, understand you really aren't that story you were just so captivated listening to. It's just a story in your mind about a past, about a future. You're not this. Not this. Or you know the sky is blue, you first must unlearn the sky is green. Because no matter how much you see blue, you know it's blue. Knowing it's green will be in the way. The sky is not green. I am not the body. I am not the thoughts. Not this. begin to concentrate the mind a little more, still negating the sky is green. On your exhale, I am not this individual body mind. Every exhale, I am not this individual body mind. And know it. The sky is not green. The sky is not green. Same thing in the metaphor. I am not this individual body mind. It's okay if you wrestle with it, if you find yourself squabbling with the statement. If you believe you're squabbling, well, you can sign up from the call and move on with things. Or if you're not certain, keep investigating. Exhale. I am not this individual body mind. And then if you hear any rebuttals, you say, not this. Do not suppress yourself. Let those thoughts arise and then realize, not this. Now, begin to work with the phrase, this world is not separate from me. We were using the phrase, I am not this individual body mind. You can, if you like it, you can alternate or just set that one aside and work with this world is not separate from me. When you hear those thoughts about how you've got control over your body and you've got to make a choice to do something in that world that's outside of you, not this. Unlearn. This is an unlearning practice. This world is not separate from me. On the exhale, it's like our imaginary friend telling themselves, the sky is not green. This world is not separate from me. The world is not separate from me. If you're enjoying this, you can keep working with this line, or we'll increase the steps. There is no individual I. There is no world. There is no individual I. There is no world. You can refine the second phrase. There is no world independent of me. How to understand this? There is no world independent of me, and there is no individual I. Work with the phrases that are fruitful. Work with the phrases that make you irrationally want to yell out, "The sky is green." This is the distance one must travel from green to blue. There is no world independent of me. There is no individual I. There is no green sky. Pick something you know can be a challenge for you now. Be gentle with yourself. Choose appropriately. Pick something that you could wrestle with. Something that gets you riled up. Something political. Something emotional about your family, about your hopes and dreams or fears. Pick something that makes you reinvest that you are an individual I. This is a separate world, and I wish I could do something about it. Something that gets you a little bit riled. And try to undo. Not this. Understand it. Unlearn it. There is no separate world, so there is no climate change. There is no individual I. And so when my best friend said that to me, they did not say it to me. You can see how pressing this practice can get. Here's your chance to know that the sky is not green. And in place of those burdens, those hopes, aspirations, and fears, in place of an individual I in a separate world. You get this is one thing. This is not a green sky. This is a blue sky. Use the phrase, this is one thing. This one thing is me. This is one thing. This one thing is me. It doesn't matter if you are told the sky is blue when you still believe it is green. There's no freedom. There's no liberation. Just hearing the words. You must know it. It must be evident. This is one thing. Eyes open, eyes closed. It's still one thing. Thoughts in your head, no thoughts in your head. It's one thing. This one thing is me. The sky's never green. It's always blue. What good is hearing the words if you still believe I'm an individual I in a separate world? This is the purpose of practice. One more moment. One more moment. See one thing. Recognize one thing. Witness one thing. Experience the one thing. Unending and ceaseless. Relax from your practice. We'll pause the recording. We can do questions. If you wish to stay in the quiet, you can sign off from the call.